guys, I'm Rox,
I'm Meat.
and this is
The Bourbon Barrel.
This is one of those little things I do every once in a while, which, I mention it, but like every time something like this comes up, and maybe it's just not a you thing because maybe people are different people and we just do different
Sure.
things. Like you go through things, you just went through some things, and that I could still make the joke because I just went like that, and I'm not gonna, but we'll
There you go.
just set that aside. Um, like you haven't wanted to do one of these, so either it's not your thing,
Definitely
or
not.
maybe you've lucked out and people haven't A, passed away, or B, been diagnosed with serious injuries or ailments that you want to help them out somehow or acknowledge them or something. Is that the case? Like everybody's just awesome in your life?
Little column A, little column B.
Fair enough. All right, good. It's good for people. Anyway, it's like a tribute episode. My cousin Matt was diagnosed with colon cancer a few weeks ago now, a month or so ago now, I imagine. He's 1 year older than I am, so he's in his late 40s, and we grew up together. Matt's to me, and Matt is just cousin Matt. He goes by apparently his nickname of Slugger at this point. We grew apart. We're gonna drink this in tribute to him. He is fighting colon cancer. This is Heaven's Door Double Barrel Whiskey by Bob Dylan.
That's the one.
There you go. Thank you. And then if that's not enough, you just pour as much in.
I'll be okay.
You're not going anywhere, so
No.
it doesn't matter. This is the first we've ever had this. We just opened this cork the first time. Heaven's Door Double Barrel. We're fans of double barrels. We're fans of double oak, thing like that. We've established that through the last year or so. Um, I just wanted to cheers him. He's having a benefit next week that I plan to go to. If everything goes well. And he goes by Slugger, I guess. There's a hashtag Slugger Strong to help him. He's having a benefit where he works and stuff, Balloons nightclub. You can donate, help him with expenses, whatever. For the first 10 years of my life, we grew up together. He's 1 year older than me, and my cousin Jamie's also 1 year older than me, and all the families kind of lived in this area back then. The families have since spread out, just moved away. He lives a couple hours away from me. We reconnected through Facebook. Thank you, social media, for doing that. He's going through a lot of stuff right now, and like I said, try to go see him next week at his benefit, and I hope everything goes well. And if anybody wants to or whatever, I thought about having some shirts made. I contacted the girl that makes our shirts. I asked her about. He's into tie dye. He likes a lot of Grateful Dead. He's a big Grateful Dead guy. He's always been good to me. We never had any kind of problems. We just grew apart. He moved up to where his mom lived. His dad lives here, but his mom, they were long divorced, and she lives a few hours away, and we just lost touch. There was never any kind of animosity or anything. It was perfect. And my cousin Jamie, who's the same way, a year older, she moved down to North Carolina with her husband, so we just don't interact as much. But Matt is always an awesome guy. His family, my family, but I mean, extended family, awesome people, still in town. Wish them all the best, including Matt. Hopefully, he gets right through this. He's swinging real hard he's posting pictures and stuff saying, he's going to kick cancer's ass and he could care less about, blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. He's an awesome guy. I looked up to him when we were growing up because he was the older kid by a year. And we used to sit in my aunt, his grandma, but my aunt, we called her Pee Wee. All right. Her real name was Vernice. All right. But she was Aunt Pee Wee. And we used to sit in his dad's car in the driveway of Aunt Pee Wee's house, and we would listen to rock music just blaring as loud as we could, and things like that. There's lots of memories of pig roasts at his house, like literally whole pigs on the thing, in mud pits that we would just play in the mud pits, and we just had a great time. And I'm sure we'll get along fine the next time we see each other. Hopefully next weekend. Hopefully, yeah. I'm just gonna ask you. Maybe you could drop this next Sunday, and then that'll be the day I'm going. And if everything goes well, and he's just a good guy. I've never heard anything negative about him, and I hope everything goes well for him. And we're gonna drink this to him, and maybe I can figure out something. If I do, I'll let you know on the show. I'll let you know on Facebook, whatever, about maybe getting a shirt out there with, if it says our name on it, fine, but we could have hashtag Slugger Strong or whatever it's going by, and then give them, if people want to buy those shirts, we give him the money and he helps with his medical expenses or something like that. He has a son named Gabe who's about the same age as my oldest son. My oldest son is 21. I think he's in college in New York City, if I remember correctly. So I think he's around the same age, 19, 20, 21. Again, just a great guy. Feel sad for him. Don't want. Hopefully, he does kick cancer's ass and everything else. So, cheers, cheers. Thank you for doing this with me, Neat. We can talk about this here for a second too, if you like. We taste it first, and we can chatter for a minute or what have you.
Good luck, man.
Yeah, sorry, but hopefully you kick the crap out of it. Thoughts? Yeah. Um, well, we know Heaven's Door is still sourced at this point, but they're building a distillery.
It's good. Spicy.
Wanted to create a collection of American whiskeys that, in their own way, tell a story. Bob Dylan. That's his quote. The complexity of our double barrel whiskey is a result of our own barrel finishing process, taking more than a year to complete. Heavily charred American white oak barrels. Um, Without having the one that we've had before in front of us, the bourbon, the straight bourbon and or just bourbon. I don't remember if they said straight on that bottle, but I feel like it's not as good as some of the other double oaks I've had. But I also feel like it's maybe better than the other Heaven's Door we had. I can't. It's hard to
It's very spicy.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very spicy, and I don't know why they call it a whiskey instead of a bourbon. If it's I don't know.
Right. Yeah. 100 proof.
Yeah.
Right on the nose.
So that could be like a bottled in bond bourbon if they did it right. So there's something that they didn't do that negates it from being a bourbon.
Right.
But
yeah, there's no. I don't see an
I'm
actual.
wondering if it's like the rye content versus corn content or something.
Use heavily charred American white oak barrels to yield over a year though, right? It's for taking more than a year to complete, just in the double barreling of it all. So I don't know, but I feel like did the first one? No, it did say bourbon on it.
Yep.
So I don't know. I saw double barreled, and as soon as I saw that, and I got another one over there that he doesn't want to try, and we don't want to put on this episode because he doesn't want to. Unless you want me to go get it, you want to try it? No. I'll push him into it next time. It's an Irish whiskey that's double barreled, but it's not peated, so he might be okay with it later on, some other time. Anyway.
Anyway,
This isn't terrible. If you don't know the bottles, these are gates that Bob Dylan built in front of some of his metal workshops and or homes, and he has different ones, and he builds these gates out of scrap metal he finds when he's just on the road and stuff. He just stops wherever he sees scrap metal, finds it, builds it, puts it, and creates gates and doors and stuff, and then they put different ones on. This is a different gate than the one that was on the other bottle. They also have different expressions. You saw the 10-year recently,
10-year one, yeah.
decades. And there's also, if I'm remembering correctly too, Bob Dylan does donate money to food pantries for every bottle sold or all his profits. Some of the proceeds go to local food pantries to help needy. So there are good reasons behind it. It's a cool bottle. It's a neat story. Bob Dylan's a legendary musician, obviously. Thus the Heaven's Door thing, obviously. So yeah. Thank you for listening, Matt. I hope everything goes well for you. I hope to see you very soon. I hope to see you possibly the day you're seeing this, maybe the next day because you got a lot going on that day, probably. And I'd like to thank Nate for letting me do this every time things like this come up. So, well, I mean, for helping me do it because it's not so much letting me, but he does all the tech stuff. So, you know what I mean? And he lets, he's taking time out of the Bills game for me to do this, and he's a crazy Bills fan. He's probably like very upset right now. That's not really. He's probably very like concerned as to whether or not who's winning or whatever. But which I understand because I wish Washington was winning and they're not because they suck. Because I talk crap about my own team. Anyway, I'm Rox.
I'm Neat. Good luck, Matt.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good luck, Matt. I will talk to you soon. I promise. Thank you very much.